4 men from Chile charged in Oakland County jewelry store robberies. There are Chilean gangs also operating in Grosse Pointe and Bloomfield Hills. For those of you who don't know what that is or why that's important in any way, shape, or form,
here's another thing.
Go for it.
All right, you got the people from Chile. Remember, you were mentioning the Congolese and some of the other people.
Oh, I'm just getting started.
All right, now listen.
Sorry, this is the taster.
This, at least it used to be a first world nation.
Yes.
We're importing third world nation people and expecting them to live by First Nation standards.
Yes.
It's not going to happen.
They don't even know how to think.
Once they have enough numbers, it is going to get bad. There's going to be no-go zones, just like they have over in France.
Yeah.
And I believe in Sweden,
mm-hmm.
they have whole areas the cops can't even go to because it's so violent.
Half of Malmo, half of the city of Malmo.
Yeah.
Cops can't even go in there.
Yeah.
So what's important about these robberies is they're happening in areas where Grosse Pointe, for example, used to be where all of the mafia captains lived. And if you committed a crime in Grosse Pointe, you probably weren't going to deal with the police. You were probably going to get some cement shoes and go for a little swim in the Detroit River.
Or you'll get one of your long bones compromised.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you eat lunch at the Macus Red Fox.
Yes.
That's where Jimmy Hoffa appeared from. These Chilean gangs are acting with impunity in neighborhoods that have been safe for 100 years because they were mafia controlled. Grosse Pointe was the Italian mob. Bloomfield Hills was the Purple Gang, which is the Jewish mob.
Yep.
And if they're robbing these neighborhoods, things are very bad. Now, how did these guys get here? The thing is, the press won't even talk about how they got here. They'll just say 4 men from Chile were charged last week in connection with robberies and assaults at 2 jewelry stores in Oakland County, according to police in Auburn Hills and Troy. Troy is another upscale neighborhood. Auburn Hills is fairly new. The charges involving resale stores don't match the scenario of transnational gangs targeting upscale houses, which is what I was just talking about.
Yep.
On Thursday, October 5th, President Biden said he was suspending federal regulations to allow adding about 20 more miles to the controversial border wall, but that doesn't mean anything. It's too open right now, says Governor Kathy Hochul of the U.S. border, said of the U.S. border with Mexico, where an estimated 200,000 to 260,000 migrants entered the United States in September alone.
Let's just say invaders.
They are invaders.
They're invaders.
That's exactly what they are, and 90% of them are war-age male. It's more like 96%.
Yes.
Or something like that.
It's a large percentage, and what we mean by military-age males is anyone between the ages of 16 and roughly 56, 60 years old.
Now, with this particular case, with these Chilean guys, the news is saying, it doesn't fit the profile. Okay, like Pop just said, he and I both have extensive time overseas, and I interacted with the locals probably more than he did, arguably, on like a real daily basis.
Fair enough.
One of the things I had to teach the officers when I worked for civil affairs at the Army level is, okay, these people are not Americans. They do not think like you.
Yep.
They do not know how to think like you. They do not want to think like you. They think the way that they do, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And a lot of officers chafed at that, but then had to swallow it because you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. Well, these gangs are going to operate the same way that they operate back in their home countries. And if you've never been to a South American country that has gang problems,
that's bad.
It's really bad. They won't think anything of raping your whole family in front of you, then hacking them to death with machetes, shoving them all into the same 50-gallon drum, and making you roll it up the street.
Yep.
They don't have a concept of violence the same way that we do.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, there was several situations in America of the South where, let's say, certain individuals were getting way too heavy-handed, and things might have dropped from the sky and stuff might have happened. Just saying.
The Pinochet Express? Everybody lives a good helicopter ride. Joy.
No. But the thing is, it's like all of those dudes are on lists.
Yes.
All right. Now, if you're a raging asshole, you're going to go to the top of the list. You're going to get all of the important assets. If you're not an asshole, you're at the bottom, and maybe they probably won't get to you.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
That's entirely possible. But yeah, we sent a couple of care packages to a particular place in Cuba when we were operating. That
things happened.
Things happen.
Yeah,
they happen.
What are you gonna do?
Packages get sent in the mail.
Yeah, dirt naps are issued.
Naps are issued.
It is what it is.
I wasn't there for any of the issuings of the dirt naps, but I may have assisted people with
the information to help them with their dirt nap.
Yeah, the entire Soros family needs to be number one. I do not disagree with you. This is a clan collapse of the West. When I was active duty, I remember Obama had a survey of military turning on U.S. citizens, conscripting illegals into our military. Yeah. A lot of our military, Pop has talked about this extensively. A lot of our military is now foreign or flaky or fruity.
Yeah,
it's the 3F, foreign, flaky, and fruity.
Yep.
And incompetent. The only way that works for us is most Americans are not flaky or fruity. And hopefully we don't have to dance that dance. I never want to dance that. I don't ever want to point a thing at a U.S. uniform.
I am too old for that shit.
I just don't want to do it at all.
No, I'm not. I'm not participating. I'm just going to talk shit about it.
Yeah,
I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got severe health issues. I just can't even do that.
That's fine. I understand. So back to these Chilean gang things here. This is the tip of Los Iceberg, as they say.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah. It's only going to get worse. Texas sheriff. We're experiencing a silent invasion of military-age men. This is from February of last year. This is from just under a year ago. What's happening at the southern border with Mexico is, in fact, an invasion, Kinney County Sheriff Brad Coe says. We're experiencing a silent invasion of military-age men. He spoke with the Center Square during an Operation Lone Star Task Force multi-day operation, which law enforcement officers rescued foreign nationals from a burning vehicle and revived a 5-year-old girl from being smuggled and stashed inside the car's trunk. That little girl is traffic.
Yep.
That's product. I guarantee you.
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, what is that movie that just came out? It's on Amazon now about the human trafficking.
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
People don't seem to understand how big this market is. It is insane.
Multi-$100 billion industry.
Yes. And if you thought like slavery was bad enough in like the 1800s,
oh, it's way worse now.
It's way worse now because now it is done for profit on a huge scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like they're not brought over here to actually do like work or whatever. They're brought over here to be exploited sexually.
We saw some of the slave markets south of Algiers when we were in Algeria.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just slave markets.
Yeah, they don't even hide it.
You're going to fucking Kmart. And it is not Kunta Kinte in those slave markets.
Nope.
It's Miriam. They were white Yazidis. A lot of the slaves, there were black slaves.
Yes.
There were, but they were like separated and everything. But the big market was Yazidis. They're getting them out of, they were in Iraq for a little while. Where did they go to? Some of them went
I don't know.
Jordan.
I do know that what is in Iraq? I'm trying to remember the country. They just had wholesale slaughter on those guys. I would say it's Afghanistan.
Yeah, but the Yazidis they look very Caucasian. They don't look like the locals at all.
And they have an ancient culture.
Prized as slaves, dude. They're prized as slaves. One of the guys we were with, it was very, very expensive. Very, very expensive. We're like, dude. To an American, the sight of a slave market is like fucking banana crackers.
Yeah.
And these guys, oh yeah, she's very expensive. We're like, son of the hell is going on, man?
But the thing is,
again, they don't think like us.
No, they don't think like us. And hell, we had to send people over there as soon as we became a country, to deal with the slave trade in Northern Africa.
How's that song go again? From the halls of Montezuma
to the shores of Tripoli. Yeah, that's it right there.
That's the one right there. That's the slave dens of Tripoli in Libya.
Yeah.
that the Marines had to go because a million Americans were taken by the pirates in those areas as slaves.
The Barbary Coast.
Barbary Coast, the Barbary pirates. Nobody ever tells that story.
No.
The silent invasion, Coe said, is being committed primarily by single military-age men between the ages of 17 to 45, which is warfighting age, for those of you who don't understand this, who are illegally entering the United States. They're wearing camouflage and carrying backpacks, according to video captured by cameras placed throughout the county. And just recently, not 2 weeks ago, they saw them coming across with weapons now.
Oh, great.
Out in the open. There's no question they had weapons before, but now they're just walking across with weapons. Many are armed and dangerous, committing robberies and engaging in shootouts with law enforcement. The men are believed to be working with or associated with the Mexican cartels. Once they arrive in major U.S. cities, they're embedded with gangs of cartels and or cartel affiliates acting like a Trojan horse. They set up inside of our cities, take over through voting and crime, and scare the local people who move out. It's happening in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, he said, where crime is also exponentially increased over the last few years.
And that's how they set up their no-go zones.
Yes.
Which is the equivalent of, let's just say it's the area where guerrilla forces muster their forces and operate out of.
Things first started getting bad after President Joe Biden altered border security and immigration policies and have only got worse since then, said Sheriff Coe. In 2022, for example, his deputies made 877 arrests, filing 3,057 felony charges. Of all the criminal cases filed that year, 927 were immigration-related, involving illegal foreign nationals or smugglers. While these numbers are unprecedented, the number of people who got away are even greater. And then, what was it? 2-3 days, it was a week ago, 14,500 people crossed our border in one day.
In fact, I think we have that one of our stories here. That is insane. Now, I have no idea why Texas hasn't pulled out of the union by now.
No, neither do I.
Because our federal government is not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Article 4, Section 4.
Shall. It's not like if you feel like it, or, when you get around to it, it shall means you will get on your fucking feet and you will do that task.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
And they are not. They are failing this entire country hand over fist. And nobody is saying shit about it, especially in the mainstream media.
Yeah, that's absolutely good. Muckraker documented Chinese military with the same clothes, bags, boots, military-aged males, 30-year-old seasoned fighters. We're coming to that one as well. GSK hits it on the head. The problem with Western society is that we play by the rules of the Marquis of Queensberry in an MMA fight.
For now.
Yeah.
It will get to the point where that's going to go away. Yeah. It trust me, that's usually how it goes.
Half of the United States is on Prozac. That is also a fact. So far in 2023, their efforts and the stats are already breaking last year's records across the board. He said at least 6,600 illegal foreign nationals have been captured just on cameras crossing through the country on foot. That's an average of 150 a day. These are the people who aren't being caught. His deputies have already apprehended 400 illegal nationals and 96 alleged smugglers so far this year. They've also engaged in nearly 30 vehicle pursuits and including 27 bailouts, all involving human smugglers. The bailouts, do you know what those are? They're taking vans or panel vans packed full of illegals, and they'll come across the border. And if the police go after them, the driver who is the smuggler or the coyote will bail
and just leave.
And just leave the vehicle there with the people in it.
Uh-huh.
So that the police are forced to stop and aid the people in the vehicle instead of running that guy down.
Well,
now being that they're all illegal, I just go run that guy over first and then come back. That's just me. Hypothetically, that's
look,
what
I've been saying this. We need to have armed patrols, military grade down there at the southern border.
I have for a long time proposed that the entire southern border should be turned into a 24/7 rifle range with barbecues and Dairy Queens, and just put big Klieg lights up all along the border, and then call a ceasefire every 12 hours and have a spooky come through and just clean the lanes. And put the rifle range back at 400 yards. We'll give you a fair chance, but if you step onto that, you're on the range. and you take your life into your own hands.
Yeah.
See, that's a little bit nicer than what I would want, because I would want landmines completely scattered everywhere and alligators and crocodiles living in the Rio Grande.
They just turn those into boots. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. The other alternative I had is, do you know what the Sea Whiz are?
Yes.
The close-in weapon systems for the Navy ships.
They shoot on missiles.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm saying this for the benefit of our gentle listeners out there. Put the Sea Whiz cannons on pedestals all along the border with motion sensors.
Mm.
And if you can dodge the Sea Whiz, set it, what's their range? They're pretty good. Like
1,200 meters.
something like that. So we'll put them 300 meters apart. If you can dodge the Sea Whiz, you can get in.
Good luck.
And this all gets live streamed on YouTube pay-per-view, which pays for the Sea Whiz cannons.
And we'll be sure to dress those cannons up with like nice little funny costumes like minions and all sorts of
exactly.
other goofy shit.
Like whoever's listened to this, you're like, oh, that could never happen.
Yes, it can.
Absolutely barbaric. You just wait until we bankrupt this country and people are freezing and starving. How pissed off they're going to get. There will be screaming for blood, and there will be no shortage of it.
Yeah. None of you wants that.
No.
Those of you out there who have never seen the shit, Pop has seen a lot more of that than I have. I've only seen any of it close up after the fact.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it.
No.
You
can't
do
unsee
not. And I know people personally. I know guys that are, I'm going to take my weapons and my body armor. I'm going to go down there myself.
No, you're not.
You don't know what you're asking for.
Correct.
Until you've been there.
Because that stuff stays with you.
Yeah.
You don't ever unsee that. You don't forget it, and you will carry it with you to the next fucking world, and you may or may not have to do some serious tap dancing when you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to have a couple of beers before I go to bed, because that twilight spot between awake and asleep, a lot of that shit pops out. Hey, can we talk for a minute? No, I really don't want to talk to you. No, come on. It's great. We'll relive that. Let's relive the whole thing. I'll do it in Technicolor. And you're just like, no, man.
Yeah.
A beer.
I got you.
Pour a beer on that one.
But yeah, man. And it's another one. We're going to wind up doing some, dirty work too, is the Mexican drug cartels. They're going to get too powerful. They're going to step out of line, and they're going to get spanked. And we might have to involve Mexico in it. I don't have a problem with that for the most part.
Mexico's asking for it at this point.
Yes.
Mexico's straight up asking for it at this point. Look, when is this article here from? I'm going to do something here to prove a point. Well, to make a point, rather. Number of undocumented immigrants reaching the U.S. Mexico. They're illegal aliens. I hate this. Undocumented migrants.
I'm so sick of this politically correct shit. They're illegal immigrants
or invaders.
Oh yeah, let's just call them invaders.
At this point, with these numbers, these are invaders.
Yeah.
The number of illegal invaders reaching the U.S.-Mexico border has hit the highest level in more than 20 years in the latest sign of the humanitarian crisis from the Biden administration. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said it caught 180,034 migrants. That is 1/4 the population of the city of Detroit.
Wow.
In May.
In 1 month. Wow.
When is this article from?
That was from 21.
That's my point.
That was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, 2.5. Let's be right. Let's get the facts straight.
Listen, I round up because it's good enough for government work.
That's fine. I'll take that.
It's a fire for effect. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. This is in 2021.
Yes.
In 2021, you got, let's round up 200,000 coming across in May. That number was slightly up from 178,854 in April and 172,000 in March. Pop, math me fast. 180 plus 178 plus 172.
It's like close to 600, just under 600.
That's over 500,000 in 3 months.
Yes.
That's any medium-sized U.S. city in 3 months, 2.5 years ago.
Yep. And if you can't fathom a small city, imagine a college football stadium holds roughly around anywhere from 60 to 80,000 people. 92,000 if you squeeze them in there.
Yeah.
And those are coming over every 7 days.
Wow.
We're in the millions right now.
Yeah, we're fucked.
Yep.
We're in the millions right now. And most of these are war-age male.
Yes.
In 2021, we're talking Ecuador, Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti, and African nations. Detroit shelters right now are being overrun by Congolese and Senegalese. Those are African countries. You don't walk from Africa to Mexico and then to the United States of America. Do you know what that journey used to be called, from West Africa to the Americas?
That was the slave trade. Right?
That was the slave trade. It was called the Middle Passage. The Middle Passage is back open.
Yep.
This is just economic slavery, because these people don't have anything. They're in homeless shelters. They're living on the streets in every major city in the United States of America. Every single one of them. Every single major city in the United States of America. Chicago and New York are being overwhelmed. LA is being overwhelmed.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest. I don't blame these southern states for shipping all of these illegals to these, sanctuary cities, because that's what they fucking voted for.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're talking 180,000 in just 1 month, right? They've only got 10,000 children with them in that group.
Mm-hmm. But if I recall, the whole children thing was a big bone of contention when Trump was in office. Yep. Kids in cages, even though that was set up by Obama.
Yeah, that's correct. The thing is, the children are passage coins. The people crossing will buy those children so that they can say, "Oh, we're coming over as family because we're so oppressed where we're from in Africa. We walked here yesterday from Africa."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen some videos from independent journalists that have actually done border walks and whatnot.
Yeah.
You can't imagine the horrors of what those kids go through.
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct. There were some being interviewed, some Africans coming across in the California sector that were being interviewed, and the journalist is talking to them, and one of them says, "Oh yeah, we raped a couple of girls on our way here." And the journalist says, "What? What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we raped a couple. I think I raped 3. He raped 5. And he raped 7. I was there for it, but I only raped 1 of those." And the journalist's jaw is just hanging on the ground.
Yeah.
With his microphone. And this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about, where we don't think like they do. They
Especially
have no
the
concept.
left.
Yeah.
The left, literally, well, those poor people. You don't seem to understand what you're inviting into your world.
Orcs.
You are, you were literally inviting the monster into your backyard, thinking it's a petting dog. No. Once there's enough of them, you are fucked.
Yeah.
And those same people that are crying about, "Oh, these poor people," and they were all about, Whitey over here, Mr. White Man gets accused, from 30 years ago. "Oh, he inappropriately touched a woman. He raped a woman, allegedly, with no evidence."
Mattress girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's move. We've been doing. We're at 9 o'clock. Let's move on.
We are moving on.
Oh, okay.
We're moving along just fine. I want to continue with that rape one, though. I want people to understand that these African migrants didn't understand that what they were doing was wrong. It did not process with them, and you could tell it wasn't that they didn't care. They didn't know that raping people on their way here was wrong. They didn't know, and the journalist knew it. You could see it in his face.
Yeah.
And that article, I'm not going to try to find it right now.
No, we don't have time to
find it. You can find it online. Moving along to
Here we go.
ABC News article.
Now, this is from 2022, which is basically 8 months after the other one.
Yes.
Look at that.
Border Control encountered 239,416 migrants along the southwest land border in May. That's 1 year.
Yep.
That's 1 year. That's 60,000 more. That's 60,000 more. That's the population of any small town or even a county.
But here's the thing. Like, these people are coming across the border and they're getting, WIC, welfare, Section 8. They're getting all of the tax benefits without ever paying a lick of fucking taxes.
Yeah.
Right? So they're taking the resources away from the United States fucking citizens where they should be going, and they're going to these, ass bags that are invading this country.
Yeah. When these people come here, they're given a $5,000 gift card, a cell phone. They're given instructions on where to go. And here's the shocking part. Most of these people are being trafficked by religious organizations.
Wow.
The NGOs. The NGOs, I looked it up. They're Jewish, they're Catholic, they're Lutheran, they're Methodist. It's all religious organizations.
Wow, that needs to come to an end.
Which just blows my mind.
Wow, I didn't even know that one.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not know that.
Look into the NGOs that are doing all of this.
All right.
Yep.
It's all religious NGOs.
Wow. And that stands for non-government organization.
That's correct. Non-governmental organization.
That's CA.
And
Speak.
The three biggest ones are the Methodists, the Catholics, and the Jewish ones.
I got you.
And they're funneling them through and putting them into communities and everything, and they give them cell phones and $5,000. And then when they get where they're going, there's nothing there for them.
Yep.
They're just moving them inland.
Not a good day.
Yeah.
This is going to end poorly.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to end for me poorly. Now, remember, we're in 2022 here. The past 4 months, according to Border Patrol statistics, migrant numbers along the southern border have steadily increased over 200,000 people each month.
Wow.
Again, Pop and I both have been in rural countries. One of the things that I noticed in several other countries that I got to go to is most people, and even in a country that's advanced like South Korea, it's really a second world country.
Yes.
Most people never leave the town they're from.
Oh, no, it's a 50-mile radius.
More than once or twice. And they only go about 50, 100 miles.
Max.
From
where they drop out of the vagina.
Yep.
You can put a dot in the ground, and more than likely, they will never travel beyond 50 miles from where that happens. You wouldn't
even have to put a string on their leg. They're circle walkers.
Yeah.
They just don't leave their radius.
Yep. That is actually quite accurate.
200,000 people a month to cross our border. Somebody's putting them there.
Yes.
They're being brought there, and it's NGOs, and it's our government funding it. The State Department has programs in the Darien Gap. Do you know the Darien?
No.
You don't know the Darien Gap?
No.
It's uncrossable, man. It's uncrossable.
Of course it is.
It's down below Panama. It's right where South America touches the Isthmus of Central America.
Okay, yeah.
And it is jungles and ravines and just death traps and pirates. And it has been for like a century.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
it's supposed to be uncrossable. The State Department has made corridors through the Darien Gap for people to go through.
Yep. And they're doing that. They're doing that for a reason, so that media attention is not brought up to that point. Or
at some point,
the back door.
At some point, steps are going to have to be taken to stop this shit, because this is out of control.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.